Yay Networks.
Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. I'm your host, Sibylla Muti, and I can't wait for you to hear all of the Great Girlfriend magic on today's show. So without further ado, grab something great to drink, grab your pen and your paper, and get ready for this week's episode. Enjoy. Hey, Great Girlfriends. Once again, I'm here with another dynamic woman who's going to share her blueprint, give us some of that secret sauce to what has made her so impactful in media and in strategy, and really just given her light so much vibrance in the world. You know, I think it's important for every single one of us to have a blueprint. With a blueprint, you can take the pieces that belong to you, that feel relevant to your strategy, you can implement and you can move forward, and you can also know that it's possible. And so every single time I have the pleasure of meeting a woman or even encountering a woman who is living out loud, who is doing something impactful and disruptive, I'm always excited to get her on the podcast, get the juice and get the sauce behind the work that she does, and celebrate and recognize her for all the things that she's doing. And as you know, Great Girlfriends, it is never easy. It's never easy, but it's always worth it. And so for that, I'd like to celebrate my guest today, Jotaka Eaddy. Hello.
Hi. I'm so excited for the conversation. Happy
so
National Women's Month, International Women's Day. It's all of the things today.
Yes. And listen, when you came on, first thing I said to her, girl, this hair is cascading. That crown is glorious. I love to see it. Jotaka, you know, I've kind of taken this notion that every day is our day. And I feel like there's a particular type of woman who understands and recognizes, you know what? Every day is our day. Every day is our day to stand up, to own our power, to wear our crowns, to jewel others, right? To bring our brilliance to the stage and to really anchor the messages that women deserve to have seen and heard in media and around the world. And your work has been laid before us in a number of facets. I wish I could say that you're one faceted, but that would be a whole lie to your identity. You are multifaceted, comma upon comma upon comma, and doing it all with this glow and this smile and this radiance. And that is so magnificent and so beautiful for us to see. So I want to first clap it up and celebrate you, because you didn't come on here pouting today. You didn't come sad. Great Girlfriends, if you're watching on YouTube, you will see and recognize this glow that she has. I would love to know the source behind your glow first, and then we'll get into more about the who's, the what's, and the hows of who you are. What's the source behind that glow?
Wow. First of all, again, thank you. I'm just excited to join the Great Girlfriends. You know, I'm trying to get to the source. So interestingly, my name, Jotaka, it's a play on an early language, Pali, which preceded Sanskrit. My name in that part of the world, if anyone hears Jyoti, it means light. And so it means source of light. And so it's interesting that you asked me that question about light and internal light. And for me, it's you know, I guess the glow that might be reflecting is just a place of just feeling alignment, feeling a sense of peace as it relates to the work that I do every single morning when I wake up. I really feel excited about the work that I'm able to do. It hasn't always been like that. It's a constant journey for me, as it is with many women. You know, I try to live in gratitude, and I try to every day work towards mission and being aligned with someone that is trying to move the needle forward in this country, particularly for people who are often shut out and pushed to the margins.
Yes. Okay, so then I was spot on talking about your light. So I feel and see that you honor your identity, that you have taken ownership of your identity and you're able to honor it. I want to go back a bit. Let's rewind. Let's kind of take the tape back and go to, there once was a girl named Jotaka, and I want you to fill in that blank for me.
Oh, there once was a girl named Jotaka who lived on a dirt road in Johnsonville, South Carolina. And she had big dreams, but she didn't always believe in herself. And it was because of people who saw something in her and reminded her to step in her own power that she's able to own her power and her voice today.
Mm. So who is she today, Jotaka?
Jotaka's a lot of things. So I first of all, I'm deeply a woman who believes in a much higher power. For me, it's God. For other people, it's other things. And I know that that is where the source of my strength comes from. And so that
Mhm.
is very much a part of who I am. I'm someone that's just deeply committed to impact. I
Mhm.
consider myself a strategist. I'm a connector. I'm a lover of people. I, believe that God has blessed me with incredibly amazing human beings that I'm able to call friends and colleagues. And I've just had a number of blessed experiences and opportunities in life that have allowed me to be a part of great change and allow me to witness great change in the world. And so for that, I am just forever grateful.
That's so good. Now, not everyone gets the nickname the Olivia Pope of Silicon Valley. Okay. There's some labor behind that. I'd love to know how you were able to be crowned the Olivia Pope of Silicon Valley.
Interestingly, my career has been a very interesting career in that I've been in various spaces. I like to think of them as all stacking on top of each other. I couldn't have done one without the other. My career
Mhm.
started very early. I was, doing work in criminal justice reform, at lobbied in the UN, helped to win a U.S. Supreme Court case that abolished the juvenile death penalty, and then really took that skill set to really focus around advocacy and political strategy around issue campaigns and or electoral campaigns. And I'd spent many years at the NAACP working on issues such as voting rights and other just pivotal issues around civil rights and human rights in our country. But then I got this call to go into Silicon Valley. And at the time, I didn't know anything about tech, or I didn't know anything about Silicon Valley. I
Mhm.
even like pronounced it incorrectly back in the day. But it tells you how much I knew about it.
Yeah.
And I was very reluctant, and I'm very public about the fact that I suffered from what is commonly now known as imposter syndrome, where I had
Mhm.
this, despite everything that I had ever done, I had helped to win a landmark US Supreme Court case, lobbied in the UN, helped change the state constitution in states to expand voting rights, like in places like Delaware. And I had been, on the pinnacle of such great movements, but yet I still didn't see a place for myself in that industry. And so for, almost a year, I was very reluctant. I was recruited very heavily to go into the industry, but I just didn't think that I was good enough. I didn't think that could be successful. I didn't think that, I fit the prototype of what it meant to be a successful leader in Silicon Valley. But it was,
Mm.
that board of directors, that those advisors, those girlfriends, those mentors that really helped me to understand not only my power, but for me to recognize that not only was there a place for someone like me, but there was a need for people like me in the industry. And I realized that I needed to get out of my own way and step into my power. And so when I went into the industry, I just did a lot of what I had already been doing, helping be a connector, a strategist. But this time I was in a different setting. I was in a business setting. There was a lot of learning that I had to do. So it's, to catch up with, understanding a
Mhm.
business environment, understanding business metrics, understanding new terminology. Uh, but it was something that really kind of came to me because what I understood ultimately was people, and I
Mhm.
understood community. And in order to
Mhm.
have a successful business, you need to understand the marketplace. And the marketplace is made up of consumers who are people, and understanding what it takes to move those consumers. And
Mm.
had a lot of connections because I had worked in politics and I had worked in advocacy, and I was able to bring
Mhm.
that to bear in the industry. But I'm also someone who's a helper. And I believe in having transformative relationships, not transactional. And so I would just help CEOs. I would help, I really viewed myself as, well, if I had a relationship or if I could help this company make a connection, and as a result of that, that company is actually going to be a better company. They're going to have better products, or they're going to have a better approach into communities, particularly marginalized communities. Then for me, it was worth making that connection. It was worth trying to help with not asking for anything in return. And so soon I, got to know a lot of some of the leading tech VCs and tech CEOs, and I was helping companies, I was advising companies, and just soon that kind of came about as sort of being a quote Olivia Pope, largely not because I was necessarily fixing fires, but because I was helping connecting people and wearing the white hat. I always say the difference between Olivia Pope is that, I did not, nor do I break laws. or,
Sleep with the president. Sleep with the president.
Any of that. I just wear the white hat. I have a great network of incredibly amazing friends and colleagues that I try to bring people together for good. So we have that in common.
I love that. You know what? I want to pause for just a second and celebrate our sponsor for this week's episode. Great girlfriends, I got some cookware and it's non-toxic and easy cooking. It's so easy to clean. I am so excited because now I'm going to do some good looking, clean cooking with Caraway. It's time for you and I to ditch the chemicals with Caraway Home's non-toxic cookware and bakeware collections so that you and I can make healthier cooking a piece of cake. Caraway Home's non-toxic kitchenwares are all designed for the modern home and feature a chemical-free ceramic coating, so food can be prepared with peace of mind that no hard-to-pronounce compound will leach into your healthy ingredients. All sets come equipped with easy access storage solutions so that no stacking is required. Gone are the days of misplacing your lids and great girlfriends. That makes me so happy. Oh my gosh. So I have the cookware set. It's a modern chemical-free iteration of the traditional 16-piece set, boiled down to 4 essentials. You got your fry pan, your saute pan, your saucepan, and a Dutch oven. And let me tell you, these things are so easy to clean, and I am just so happy about it. All right. I know you want your own. So here's what you're going to do. To get your own version of the Caraway cookware set or the bakeware set, visit carawayhome.com/greatgirlfriends to take advantage of this limited time offer for 10% off of your next purchase. This deal is exclusive to our listeners. So visit carawayhome.com/greatgirlfriends or use code greatgirlfriends at checkout. Caraway, non-toxic cookware made modern. All right, I want to jump right into this. You said so many powerful things. Soul sister, first of all, let me just tell you, I'm over here. I'm in the choir at your church, and I'm like, amen, hallelujah, thank you. Like, I'm just all in it because there were so many things that you said that were so poignant when you talked about transformative relationships and not transactional. When you talked about behind these brands, the marketplace is built of community, consumers who ultimately make community. When you talked about service and helping, that servant leadership, all of those facets of you. And you also talked about, you didn't talk about the problem remaining the problem. You talked about how you're able to point yourself as a solution to problems. So understanding your role. And I feel like there's this big overarching why that wakes you up, that fuels your tank. And I think that the people that insulate your success understand your why, and they're able to pad you and continue. And you mentioned the board of directors, and I thought you were talking about your personal board of directors. Were you talking about your personal board?
Yes, my personal.
I thought you were. So we're going to get to that too. But I want to know about your why, because you also designed a campaign, Win with Black Women, and you also are now advocating your own personal voice and bringing that to the platform on OWN, Speak Sis. So I want to know about your why. And then we're going to jump into this circle of success and what it's like to build a safe space where you can, fall, pick up, learn, grow, right? And do all the things, but have a team to help you architect your mission and kind of move you. What is your why?
The why. Oprah Winfrey, who I absolutely adore and love.
Yeah.
often talks about the why. And for me, my why actually goes back to my roots. It goes back to that girl, Jotaka Eaddy, who grew up on that dirt road in Johnsonville, South Carolina. And anybody's ever heard me speak, they hear me talk about the story and they may go, oh, she's just going to talk about, the dirt road. But I'm going to talk about it every opportunity I get, because it was that dirt road and the people that lived on dirt roads in my community that helped make me who I am today. And so my why is deeply centered in the fact that, growing up, I grew up in a town, 1,400 people. The people of Johnsonville are hardworking people who necessarily didn't have a lot as it relates to resources. There wasn't a lot of opportunity in Johnsonville, but the people were hardworking, loving people who poured into young people in the community like myself. And the first time I had an opportunity to go to a conference to further my career, it cost $3,000. And it was $3,000 that my parents did not have, but it was the people of my community that sold dinners, that baked cakes and raised money, money that didn't come easy, to send me to this conference, to put me on this plane, because they saw something in me. And for me, I always think about every single day when I wake up, my mission in life, like what I'm trying to combat in life, is exclusion and marginalization. And so often there are so many people who are pushed to the sides and the margins, who are overlooked, undervalued, underestimated. And many of those people are like the people where I'm from, people in my family still today. And my goal in life is to repay those people. Because if I was a company, if I was a startup, my seed investors would be those people. Those
Look at me.
so that I can move forward. So I have a deep obligation in life to make sure that I'm honoring their investment. I'm honoring the fact that Miss Annie Lou Eaddy took what little she had to try to give it to me so that I can be something. Or that, Miss Vernie Ruth Gorley did what she could, or she had her husband, who's no longer living, making, dinners, barbecue and chicken so that they can sell dinners to send me to this conference. I get emotional when I think about it, because I'm so incredibly grateful to those people. And so for me, and I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about it.
No, me too.
That's my why. They are my why. So when I wake up in the morning, I think to myself, am I moving in purpose? Am I moving in a way that honors those people and people like them? People who often are just overlooked, or people just walk past them and don't think about their life or what they are feeling in this country. And so if I can do anything, whether it is advocating for their voting rights, or whether or not it's helping to ensure that their value or their financial value is in a place where companies respect them and they're not subject to predatory lending, or whether or not it's helping tech companies understand the value of these consumers because they are consumers too. For me, it's what drives me. That's the why that keeps me motivated every single day.
Okay, so wait, were we having church? Were you trying to bring tears? The thing about advocacy that people should all understand, like, we all have the power to advocate through small gestures, through big gestures, through voting rights, through activism, through, offering a coffee, through, lending our voice to the hopeless. There's something about advocacy, but the power for me is in advocacy is that we bring sight to those who feel invisible. And, that shining again brings back to being a luminary and having that light and understanding that you're shining light on darkness. Someone's taken someone else's light, and you now understand the power as an advocate that you get to bring light and expose people who have been left in dark places, or people who have been isolated or underrepresented in rooms that we get to walk into. And it is a privilege to advocate. And sometimes it can feel heavy, and sometimes people can, want to quit on their advocacy. But I hope that anyone listening and seeing this, Jotaka, will be reminded to resurrect or resuscitate their spirit of advocacy. because as we have been seen, it is our responsibility to bring light to others, right?
Yes. Yes. I mean, for me, I believe it's the way that I repay the blessings that have been bestowed upon me.
Mm-hmm.
It is the way that
Mm-hmm.
I repay the universe, because I certainly believe that the universe works in a way that the universe ultimately repays you. And if you can live
Mm-hmm.
through your life, and go through life giving and not expecting to receive, I am
Mm-hmm.
absolutely living witness that the universe ultimately will repay you. It may not be in the
Mm-hmm.
way that you think. It could just be a set of green lights when you're in a rush and you're trying to get to the
Yes.
airport and you're running late, and all of a sudden traffic seems to be clear. That could be the way the
Yeah.
universe repays you. But as long as you just go through life, and if you give with an open heart, and if you give in a way that is truly honest and authentic, then
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, I believe the good of all things really circulates back to
Mm-hmm.
those that give freely and with a willing heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is a human ecosystem that we live in, and that's the connector for us, humanity. That
Mhm.
that piece. I love that. That's so beautiful. So, win with Black women, as if your plate weren't full enough.
Yeah.
Let's add a beautiful campaign that helps to shine light and bring visibility to the power and impact of Black women by your side. Can you share with us I understand inspiration and motivation, but now implementation of this campaign?
Yeah, Win with Black Women is, yeah, I know. It's like in the middle of 2020. Um, it happened, but everything
Yeah,
is divine and in divine order. I like to
yeah.
think of Win with Black Women as a collective love letter to Black women from Black women. And it
Hmm.
started in August of 2020. I was sitting at my parents' home in South Carolina, and I just saw on the news just all of the vicious personal attacks towards every Black woman that was potentially named as a vice presidential nominee. And
Hmm.
many of those women I've known for years, I had worked with, are friends. And I just knew, understanding sort of the political strategist in me, that this was intentional, it was well funded, and it was really meant to not only set back these individual women, but it
Hmm.
was going to set back Black women as a whole. Because if we
Hmm.
allow ourselves to be subjected to racism and sexism at this level, then what is
Yeah.
happening to Black women who are in the workplace every single day? What are happening to Black women just in their day-to-day lives? And then
Hmm.
further, if we are systematically taking out this pipeline of brilliant, amazingly qualified Black women who are in the pipeline to take on some of the most highest prestigious positions of power in America, what happens to that pipeline when we allow them to be systematically taken out by unfair racist and sexist attacks? And so, understanding that, I knew it was time for
Hmm.
Black women to come together. So I sent out an email to about 65 friends. I literally, I don't have an email list. I just did it from memory. It's just sort of like,
Uh-huh.
oh, let me email this person, this person, this person. And that night by 8 p.m., 90 friends had gathered on a call. And
I
it
love
was
it.
absolutely inspiring, because it was intergenerational. It was women such as Dr. Hazel Dukes, who will be
Hmm.
turning 90 in, I think,
Wow.
on March 17th. Her birthday's coming up. And Dr.
Wow.
Janetta Besh Cole, to young women like Celia McFadden, who was a senior at Howard University. So it was
Hmm.
intergenerational. It was women whom, for me as a connector, I was super excited because it was women from all facets of the areas where I'd worked. There were women in movement, women in politics, women in entertainment, women in
Hmm.
Silicon Valley. There were women in the faith movement. So there was just a network of Black women who decided to come together in their individual capacities to say, we're going to speak out against racism and sexism. And then we decided that we were going to keep meeting. We were very
Hmm.
clear that we were going to take that energy and call for a Black woman to be on the vice presidential ticket. And then we
Hmm.
did the work to make sure that it was a reality. We are still meeting. And now we have our efforts focused on ensuring that we have our first Black woman U.S. Supreme Court nominee. And so it's a real blessing. The network, we meet generally every Sunday night. There are on average 300 Black women that gather on a
Wow.
Sunday night, whether we have our bonnets or however we want to be. And
Yes.
it's really beautiful. And we've had some amazing special guests, everyone from the late, great Cicely Tyson, to Dionne Warwick, to Oprah Winfrey's gotten on a couple of calls. So it's been really great because in Win with Black Women, we're all leaders. We all are the same. We all carry power. And what's important for me and for the women who help lead this is that we have to see our unique power as individual women. We yield power in every single sector, and we have a choice. We could take that power and yield it towards a collective agenda, which largely Black women is really about our communities. It is about our families and the people that we care about, because I firmly believe that when Black women, when we enter, we see everyone, but often others don't see us. And so the notion that we win with Black women is that Black women, we win together, but also America wins with us.
Yes. Okay. Did you sign my name up for the call on Sunday? Let me get my...
We gotta get you on these calls.
Get my bonnet.
They're very soulful. They're great.
I love it.
It's wonderful. And
it sounds like my kind of call.
To be with those women every single Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you keep us laugh too. Donna Brazile keeps us laughing.
Oh, I love that. That's so good. So then there's one more call. It's, hey, Jotaka, it's Oprah. Listen, I'm putting together a new show. I love the work that you do. And I want to have your voice be one of the main contributors to this platform. Then there's the show, which is so good and so sensitive and so soul soothing, and it is just so empowering. There's so many nuggets that I grabbed. My friend Tiffany Budgetnista was on. I take notes every time. I just love the contribution that it's making to everyday solutions for women. I know I only have you for a few more minutes, but Speak Sis, give us your perspective on the impact of Speak Sis.
It's an amazing show, absolutely shout out and, super grateful to Miss Oprah Winfrey for having the vision for such a show to, own the network, for creating space for Black women, and Tina Perry and the entire team at OWN, and the producer of the show, a wonderful Black woman, Jennifer Ryan, who is the, showrunner and the producer of the show. But the show is really all about the women who are a part of the show. It is about the women who are the experts and the women that are the audience. And what I've learned, my co-host, Adrienne Burkhart, and I, we really just help try to facilitate these conversations, these very important conversations that we often don't have. We certainly don't have these conversations publicly. But the real focus of the show is to center Black women, to center not only our expertise, but to center our experiences as it relates to everything from our physical health to our sexual health, our mental and emotional health to our financial health. And so it's an honor and a privilege to host the show, to have sat beside Oprah Winfrey on the first episode, and really to really help drive, again, impact and impactful conversations.
I love it. What's next for you?
Well, I am really right now, I'm very focused on helping Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson become the first Black woman U.S. Supreme Court justice in the United States. That's something that's super important to me as an individual, as a voter, as a citizen in this country. And just really focused on continuing to drive impact, working through my firm, the clients that we work with every single day, to really help create transformative change in not only America, but the world. Every single day, I learned this. These are not my great words, but they're Oprah Winfrey's words of just really living in gratitude, and trying to wake up every single day and live in gratitude. There's something personally that I've been doing, is that I often say to myself in the morning that I have a choice, that either I can evolve or I can repeat. And not every single day, we're not always going to evolve. Some days we fall into the rut of repeat and repetition. But it's my hope that on most days that I'm going to evolve. And so my goal is really to keep evolving and to keep living a life that honors all of those people in Johnsonville and people like them who poured into my life to make me who I am today. And hopefully I can help move the needle forward for just people in the world to get us to a place that hopefully the world is a little bit better when I leave it than it was when I came.
And let me just say this, not one hot plate was wasted that was cooked to help to help pave the way off of that dirt road to put you in front of the opportunities that you have taken full advantage of and made space for others. I just want to celebrate and recognize your strength, your poise, your connectiveness, your understanding, not of just yourself, but of others, right? And being that bridge, when you're a bridge, how do I say this when you're a bridge, people understand how heavy it can be for people to cross bridges and how hard it can be to sustain that space as a bridge. And you probably make it look so easy. But, as a person who also sees myself as a bridge, a vessel, I understand that there is weight. And I just want to thank you for continuing to serve as a bridge. And how can we continue to keep up with and support the work that you're doing and celebrate you?
Well, you can find me on social media channels at Jotaka Eaddy. I have a unique name. It's at Jotaka Eaddy. You can also follow the hashtag Win with Black Women. And you can also find my company, Full Circle Strategies, as well on the World Wide Web. So that's how you can keep up with me. I encourage everyone that's watching this podcast to follow hashtag Win with Black Women for the latest on how to support efforts led by Black women in America.
So awesome. Jotaka, thank you so much for being here with me today. And I want to celebrate you again and again for the work you're doing and just give you just a full round of applause and add a jewel to your crown today.
Thank you. I will accept that, my sister. Thank you so much for having me.
So welcome.
That you're doing with the Great Girlfriends.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Blessings to you.
Thank you.
All right, great girlfriends. Did you enjoy this week's episode of the podcast? If so, would you please give us your amazing review on iTunes? Every single review helps another great girlfriend get plugged into the podcast and the community. Speaking of community, make sure you join our Facebook group at The Great Girlfriends. Follow us on Instagram at The Great Girlfriends and on Twitter at @the_great GFS. I'm Sibylla Muti and I'm out. Peace.